I have a riddle for you. What slips further away the tighter you hold on, but becomes whole and free when you let go? The answer isn't an object, it's your life. When you tense up, overthink every moment, worry, and let pressure rule you, you only become more exhausted and disappointed. But when you learn to let go, to see everything with a calm mind, every experience, whether it's failure, pain, or exhaustion, turns into a lesson and a source of joy. Think of the times you've stumbled, felt weak or drained. Those moments don't define you. They're just steps in the dance of life, where you're both participant and observer, both experiencing and learning. As Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Real power lies in how you respond, in your ability to stay calm amid chaos and to find your inner light even in darkness. In this video, we'll explore together how to turn pressure, failure, and anxiety into opportunities to live more lightly, bravely, and wisely. Stay with me to the end of the journey to discover the secret to enjoying life without taking every moment so seriously. 1. Life as a game and a dance. Picture this. You're standing before a chessboard, pieces lined up, and every move demands careful thought. Are you so tense and serious that you forget to breathe? Or can you see the chessboard as a game? Isn't every move, no matter how important, also an intriguing discovery? Life, in reality, is no different from that chessboard, or like a jazz piece where you're the pianist. Every note, every move might be off, but can also flow, blend, and sparkle in its own way. Why do we take life so seriously? Is it because we feel every moment is a test? Is that every failure is a tragedy? That's when the image of the Joker from the movie of the same name comes to mind. Not as a destroyer, but as a reminder that society, roles, reputation, status, all of it is a game. Look at nature, the birds singing in the trees, the waves gently breaking on the shore, the clouds drifting across the sky. You'll see the universe also plays, dances, and flows without ever being tense. If a bird or a wave can play without a reason, why do we force ourselves to take everything so seriously? Life is not shallow, but play doesn't mean being irresponsible. Think of pianists, chess players. They're focused and serious, but still find joy in every moment. Every keystroke, every chess move matters, but doesn't become a burden, doesn't crush the natural rhythm of experience. That's the balance between seriousness and play, between responsibility and freedom, where life opens up, richer and more meaningful. From the Stoic perspective, here's the lesson. You only control your own response, never the entire universe. As the philosopher Zeno of Citium said, well-being is attained by little and little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself. Every moment, every action, each move or note is a chance to practice calmness, to join the game of life without overburdening it. When failure comes, you can complain or learn to laugh and continue playing more calmly. Seen this way, every situation, every difficulty becomes another note in your life's song, a discovery, an experience, a lesson. You can't stop the waves, command the clouds, or make birds sing on cue. But you can choose to join the rhythm, to play with the universe instead of fighting it. When failure comes, you can complain, regret, blame yourself. Or you can laugh, learn, and keep playing the game more calmly. In this way, every situation and hardship becomes a note in your song of life, each note a discovery, an experience, a lesson. So how do we play life as a dance or a song without slipping into shallowness or irresponsibility? First, recognize that taking things so seriously often comes from fear. Fear of failure, of judgment, of losing control. When you face that fear, you start to see it fade away. Like a cloud drifting across the sky, you can't hold it, and you don't need to. Next, try shifting your focus from outcome to experience. Dance in the rain, play a piece of music, take a risky step in work or relationships. When you join in, you realize playfulness still exists, even in the most serious moments. Another practical way is to observe nature. Watch the waves, the birds, the clouds, and remind yourself, they play, so I can play too. Or try microplay. In work, add a surprise, a creative twist, or tell a funny story in a meeting. Realize that every moment can be a step, a note, a chess move, and you can be serious but not stressed. Finally, remember, this game isn't about winning or losing, but about living, learning, and enjoying. Like a dancer on the floor, you might stumble, miss a beat, but you keep moving to the music, staying in the dance of life. Every step, every note is your choice, so choose to play calmly, bravely, and wisely. When you learn to see life as a game and a dance, you'll notice pressure lessens, failure feels lighter, exhaustion is only temporary, and even pain becomes part of the dance. Life is no longer a chain of burdensome tasks. It's music, a dance, a game you're invited to join. Every moment can be joy, every step a solution. 2. The burden of seriousness. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, who do you see? A model father, a successful husband, or a rigid lawyer? Many of us spend our lives playing roles, perfecting ourselves in each one, forgetting that these roles are just masks. They're needed for society to function, but if we mistake them for our real selves, the game of life becomes a prison. Think of a doctor, always serious, under pressure, anxious about every diagnosis, or a father, tense over every word and action towards his children. These roles are important, but when you tie your whole sense of self to them, every failure and mistake becomes a crushing weight. Stress, anxiety, and exhaustion become constant companions, and you forget that you, as a person, exist outside all the responsibilities, expectations, and judgments of others. The character Joker, in his own way, sees this excess seriousness as comedy. He laughs at how people create rules, trap themselves in boxes, and force themselves to be what isn't natural. Someone frowning in a boardroom, stressed by every email, every call, might see the absurdity if viewed through the Joker's eyes. That entire machinery of seriousness is just an illusion, images we impose on ourselves. But instead of laughing, most people tense up, forgetting they can still play, still breathe, still let go. We often confuse our roles with our true selves, mostly out of fear of being judged, of failing, of not being enough. Pressured by school, work, family, and society, people come to measure their worth by what they do, rather than by who they are. When joy, decisions, and effort are all tied to achievement or image, life becomes stressful, pressure builds up, and every moment becomes a heavy task, making us forget the natural ease and joy present in each experience. Stoic philosophy reminds us, you only control your own response, not the roles or outcomes society imposes. When you realize you're just playing a part, you reclaim your inner power. A lawyer can make mistakes, a father can be imperfect, a doctor can misdiagnose, and the world still goes on. Once you see this, pressure eases, anxiety lessens, and the stress in work and relationships becomes lighter. Try this simple practice. Whenever you're stressed, ask yourself, What role am I playing? Is this role my real self? Take a deep breath, smile, and realize you're still there, behind all the labels. This awareness is like the Joker pulling off his mask, revealing your true face behind the smile, behind the tension, behind all the seriousness. When you remind yourself that your real self is still whole, every step becomes lighter, every interaction more natural, and conflicts that seemed impossible start to shrink. The story of Marcus Aurelius proves the point. He was an emperor with ultimate power, facing wars, justice, and weighty decisions. But in Meditations, he didn't see himself through the throne or his titles. He looked into his own mind, into his reactions to circumstances, and found freedom within. If an emperor can be calm amid upheaval, then ordinary people like you and me can also find moments of ease in the midst of the roles and responsibilities we carry. Another practical practice is conscious play. Allow yourself to laugh at small mistakes, joke with colleagues, or share a funny story about yourself in your role. These seemingly small acts help you break free from excess seriousness, reminding you that roles are just tools, not your essence. When you learn to recognize roles and separate them from your real self, life transforms. The game is a game again, the dance is a dance, and everything becomes lighter but not shallow, serious but not burdensome. You still care for your family, still work, still learn, but you're no longer trapped by the prison of seriousness. You learn to live with clarity, courage, and calm, seeing the world with both mind and heart, knowing that your real self is always free, no matter how many faces or rules society throws your way. And in the moment you realize this, you'll notice a genuine smile appear natural, unforced, not a mask or an escape, but the smile of inner freedom, of someone who's just removed the mask and stepped into their true light. 3. Far out and far in. Balance is the essence of a fulfilled life. When you enter your world without recognizing the line between seriousness and relaxation, you easily slip into being far out, where everything feels tense, overly serious, and you slowly lose touch with your natural self that exists in every moment. Far out is when you wake up with a long to-do list. Even breathing feels heavy, and every decision, no matter how small, becomes a source of anxiety. Pressure builds, fatigue grows, and you feel yourself swept away from real living. On the other hand, the far-in state is when you're connected to your own center, to the universe's green room, where everything is calm but never dull. A far-in person isn't carried away by excessive worry or social judgments. They keep order in their mind, balance in society, and flow with the rhythm of the universe. Every action is done consciously, observing and participating, but without tensing up or overburdening things. This is the state Stoic philosophy and nature both recommend: being involved, being aware, being calm. The character Yoda from Star Wars, with his calm, wisdom, and deep awareness, perfectly symbolizes this balance. He sees the game of life and takes action consciously. Yoda isn't dragged along by pressure or fear, but each decision comes from understanding and mindfulness. From this perspective, we learn that responsibility and social pressure don't have to make us slaves. We can see the game, smile at it, and choose to participate freely, serious but light-hearted. What causes many to end up far out is fear. Fear of failure, judgment, and losing control. When your mind is controlled by worries about the future, the past or present pressures, you forget that every moment can be an experience, not just a duty. Difficulties, mistakes, failures, they're not tragedies. They're just notes in life's symphony. When you realize this, pressure fades, and the natural rhythm returns. The solution for balancing far out and far in is to practice mindful non-interference, not giving up, but observing and choosing when to step in. Instead of trying to control every situation or straining for outcomes, focus on recognizing when action is needed and when to let things unfold naturally. For example, at work, maintain order and do your duties, but don't obsess over co-workers' feedback or the final result. In conversations, listen fully, offer feedback mindfully, but don't try to control others' feelings or thoughts. A real-life example: a teacher in a noisy classroom. Far out, she gets stressed, takes every student's behavior too seriously, and feels exhausted all day. Far in, she observes the class like a living piece of music. Notes may be off, but she doesn't panic. She intervenes mindfully, guides, and brings order while keeping things light and flowing with the class's energy. Every action is both effective and effortless, both serious and free. Or consider a comedian like Bill Murray, performing, observing the audience, playing with the moment. He doesn't control every reaction or every laugh, but every action is mindful. The audience is entertained, he's fully engaged, but never tense or overly serious. This is a living example of blending far out and far in. With mindful non-interference, you learn to see pressure, worry, and responsibility as natural parts of the universe, not to force everything to your will or take things too seriously. You're both participant and observer, stepping in when needed and letting go when the time is right. The result is a harmonious rhythm. You're serious in action, but not in attitude. You play the game, but still smile and move in sync with the rhythm of the universe. And in those moments you'll realize, living between far out and far in is not stress or struggle, but conscious, calm, and free living, where every moment and every action becomes part of the universal game you both observe and join, fully blending with the rhythm of your own life. 4. Transforming anxiety into laughter. Let's face it, anxiety and laughter aren't two separate states. They're two sides of the same phenomenon. Both are reactions to reality, only differing in how you perceive and experience them. When pressure shows up when you fail, feel pain, or confront what's beyond your control, your heart races, your body tenses up. That's anxiety. But from another perspective, from the eternal rhythm of the universe, like the natural flow Cleanthes spoke of. Lead me, Zeus, and you too, Destiny, to wherever your decrees have assigned me. All these things can become part of the game, a play you're invited to join. Every moment, even the ones that scare you at first, can turn into joy and laughter. Anxiety feels heavy because we attach negative meaning to every difficulty. Failure is treated as a tragedy, a mistake as a disaster, pain or hardship as an unbearable misfortune. But when you realize that these events are just events, not good or bad, not diminishing your worth, anxiety dissolves. Happiness doesn't come from having things go your way, but from how you choose to respond. When hardship is seen as a natural part of the universe, it becomes a game. You participate, you experience, but you don't get drowned by it. Stoic philosophy reminds us that death, suffering, and hardship are natural experiences. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Marcus's words are a reminder that death and difficulty are parts of life, and we can't control every event. When you accept this, daily worries become lighter, and even your deepest fears can transform into a smile. Here, laughter isn't denial or escape. It's a way to accept and acknowledge life's limits and uncertainties while choosing a calm, wise response. When you laugh at what you can't control, you free yourself from stress and find joy in the present moment. Plato talked about the gods' games, where humans are actors on the stage, serious, yet also mocked by fate. If you see every challenge as a game, each pressure becomes a test for self-discovery, not a tragedy to torment yourself with. Every fear can be turned into laughter, every failure into an interesting lesson, every pain into part of life's dance. Turning anxiety into laughter is not hard to practice. Recognize your anxiety. When your heart pounds and your body tenses, pause and remind yourself, this is just an event. I'm reacting, not being defined by it. Observe from a distance. See the situation as a game, a play, or a jazz piece where you're the pianist, imperfect, but still harmonious. Laugh at yourself. Tell stories of failure, mistakes, or silly moments to friends. Laughing at yourself doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger and clearer-headed. When you learn to laugh at your anxiety at work, in learning, or in daily life, everything becomes more whole, more effective, and you become lighter, calmer. No more pointless stress cycles. Now, reason and emotion flow together. Responsibility and play exist in harmony. Ultimately, when you realize the link between anxiety and laughter, you'll see the universe isn't against you, life isn't so scary, and you always have the right to choose your response. Every worry, every failure, every pain can become a smile, a solution, and an awakening, helping you live more calmly, wisely, and bravely in every moment. Now I want to hear from you. What recent moment made you anxious, but now makes you laugh? Share your story in the comments so we can all learn to turn anxiety into laughter together. 5. Effortless action and purposelessness. Imagine a river winding through a valley, cool, gentle water, yet powerful enough to wear away stone, flowing smoothly around every obstacle. You can't force the river, can't make it stop or speed up. It flows by its nature, and in that flow, everything is accomplished naturally, lightly, yet powerfully. People are the same. True action doesn't need to be heavy, doesn't need to prove itself, doesn't require you to strain for distant goals. When you act from your true nature, you flow with the universe, and everything gets done naturally, wholly, without the burden. In Taoist philosophy, there's the concept of Wu Wei, or action without forcing, acting according to natural flow. This isn't passivity or carelessness. It's the art of joining the universe's rhythm, doing things naturally, wholly, and effectively, without being controlled by distant goals or worry about outcomes. Like the river flowing around obstacles, Wu Wei is about acting for the action, observing and adjusting as needed, letting things unfold naturally. This idea closely connects to Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes that we can't control outside events, but always control our reactions. Practicing Wu Wei lets us fulfill responsibilities, keep life's natural rhythm, and maintain calm, clarity, and inner freedom, just as the Stoics teach about self-control and attitude toward the world. Why do so many struggle with Wu Wei? Because society and ego constantly teach us to achieve, to prove our worth. From work to family to school, every action seems tied to recognition, reward, or the fear of judgment. When this controls you, actions become heavy, tense, and you lose your natural rhythm. Learning from nature makes the lesson clear. A cat hunting doesn't think about proving itself. A bird singing doesn't question its song's value. The sea's waves don't worry about their purpose or results. They act from their nature, and in that flow, everything gets done. We can do the same. Act for the action, not burdened by results, and still reach optimal effectiveness. That's the heart of wu-wei action without purpose, yet full of life, natural yet effective. Look at a musician playing. When they play, they merge completely with the music, not thinking about the audience's judgment, not chasing fame or reward. Every note, every melody is a whole, free, serious act, yet light. That's why the music is alive, emotional, and deeply connecting. Similarly, a writer who writes not for book sales or awards, but for the creative experience, makes every word full of life and freedom. The solution is the action-observation cycle. Instead of trying to control or force outcomes, alternate action with observation. For example, when learning a new skill, focus fully on the action, drawing, playing, or learning a sport without the pressure to master it instantly. Then observe the results, notice progress and difficulties, but don't tie your worth to outcomes. This cycle lets you act naturally, experience, learn, and stay free from pressure. Another example, loving action. When you care for or help others without expecting thanks or repayment, you're acting from your nature, joining life's rhythm. This attitude eases stress, increases connection, and helps you see that action doesn't need distant goals to have value. Stoic philosophy reminds us we can't control everything around us, but we can control our response. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you act without a fixed outcome, you fulfill responsibilities, keep your natural rhythm, harmonize with the universe, and stay light and calm. Purposeless action isn't careless or irresponsible. It's an art of living. You work, create, learn, love fully and effectively without being trapped by results or judgment. This is how to live calmly, bravely, and wisely, like water that wears away rock, gentle but unstoppable, bending around obstacles, strong and alive. Finally, when you realize actions can be natural and not tied to outcome, you'll feel lighter, happier, and clearer. Every moment becomes part of the universe's game, every action an expression of your nature, and in this joining, you live fully, effectively, and meaningfully without making life so serious. 6. Focus on your present. Every action we take happens in the present, whether we're recalling the past or planning for the future. Time truly exists only in this moment. Every step, every breath, every thought is here and now. But people often forget this basic truth. We're caught up in memories and plans, losing our natural rhythm. The self you imagine as a fixed entity is really just a bundle of memories, desires, and actions like eddies in a river. Each eddy is a part, but none can define the whole river. What keeps us from being present? Fear, overthinking, and a habit of focusing on results. When every action, decision, and experience is tied to achievement, responsibility, or others' judgment, the mind becomes tense, tired, and takes every moment too seriously. As the Stoic Zeno of Citium said, "Man conquers the world by conquering himself." When you don't master yourself, you get swept into invisible cycles of thought, worry, and anticipation, forgetting your true nature is the whole flowing river, not just the little whirlpools it creates. From a distance, you see you're not ruled by anxiety or failure, and pressure drops away. Stoic philosophy teaches that being present is how to live fully and lightly. Knowing yourself isn't just understanding your memories, actions, or social roles, but realizing you are the whole river, a flowing being, not locked into the past or the future. When you focus on the present moment, you find joy and wholeness in the smallest things. Listening to music you love, watching a bird fly, having a real conversation, or simply feeling your breath. When you know you are the whole river, life becomes lighter. You're no longer trapped by fleeting failure or success. You experience the flow, the vibrancy, and the natural rhythm in every moment. A simple, effective practice is self-reminding and observing. While working, pause, breathe, and ask, "Am I fully present in this moment?" When talking, listen without worrying about feedback or judgment. While walking, notice every step and every sound around you, instead of thinking about the destination. These practices help you experience the present and see your own flowing nature. Happiness doesn't depend on success or others' judgment, but on how you join the natural flow of life and recognize yourself as the whole river in motion. When you master the present moment, you control your response, enjoy the experience, reduce anxiety and over-seriousness, and live more calmly, wisely, and bravely. In the end, when you learn to value the present and self-remember, every moment becomes alive and whole. You realize you're not the whirlpools of tension, failure, or worry. You're the whole river, endlessly flowing in rhythm with the universe. This awareness helps you live lightly, fully, and meaningfully, no matter the difficulties or pain life brings. Life, despite its pressures, failures, and worries, is still a song, a dance, a game we're invited to join. When you learn to see every experience from a calm, wise perspective, you realize that anxiety and laughter are just different reactions to the same reality. That action doesn't need to be heavy or tied to outcomes, and that every present moment is a chance to join the natural rhythm of life. You'll see that being serious in action isn't the same as making life heavy, and joining the universe's flow doesn't take away meaning or responsibility. When you grasp this, every step, every breath, every experience becomes lighter, more alive, and deeply meaningful. If you found this video helpful, let us know how much lighter, happier, or clearer you feel afterward on this 5-point scale. 1. Not comfortable at all. 2. Somewhat enjoyable, but not enough. 3. Neutral, a few helpful things. 4. Very helpful, feeling more at ease. 5. Complete, learned, and laughed, wonderful. Pick the number that fits you best in the comments. And if you want more Stoic lessons for lighter living, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Remember, live calmly and wisely, but don't forget to laugh with life.